overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 Tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 Tour.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Yesterday was the talk of the town. It was a cow on the side of the road.
Do you live close to a movie theater? I'm just curious because maybe the cow was trying to go to the movies.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle is right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you don't like your NBA playoffs to include a Luka and a LeBron, because if so, I got bad news for you. They are out of here. Lakers have been eliminated. Death by Rudy Gobert, if you can believe that. We'll talk NBA playoffs momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. Mike Wallace, senior editor, Grind City Media, joins me on Thursdays in the second segment. Today is Thursday. We've got a second segment. It's coming up in about 20 minutes. Mike Wallace going to join me around 10:20. Finish talking to Mike, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, the commercial appeals. Jason Munz is reporting about another transfer portal target who recently visited the University of Memphis. I'll tell you who it is. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. Packers receiver Josh Jacobs said he still talks to his former Alabama teammate Henry Ruggs all the time, and that the ex-Raider is training in prison in hopes of returning to the NFL. Interesting quotes. I'll read some of them to you. We'll do that a little later on in the show. If you thought we were going to go even a day without talking about 73-year-old Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend, you can think again, because the New York Post is now digging on their relationship, and what they've found already is that this woman has obtained millions of dollars in real estate since she began dating the iconic football coach. It's a wild situation. I'll give you the latest in just a bit. Congrats to Big Glow. Congrats to Big Glow. First annual Glow Bash scheduled for FedEx Forum this July. Amazing story she's become. We'll celebrate our biggest hip-hop star. We'll do that in the second hour. Scary scene last night, PNC Park in Pittsburgh. A man fell from the 21-foot Clemente wall to the hard ground below. By all accounts, alcohol played a role. He's in critical condition. I'll get you updated on that situation during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carry out and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with the NBA playoffs, specifically in Los Angeles, where the Timberwolves eliminated the Lakers last night inside Crypto.com arena. Final score, Timberwolves 103, Lakers 96. So that best-of-7 series, it's over in 5 games. Minnesota advances to face either the Warriors or the Rockets, and the Lakers are gone, baby, gone. So our Kings' 22nd season in the NBA, it's now officially in the books. If this is it, his final game will have been spent watching Rudy Gobert get 27 points and 24 rebounds on 12 of 15 shooting from the field. This dude looked like Shaq, then got complimented on TNT by Shaq. Big Bad Bennett, I know J.J. Redick is the smartest basketball mind this world has ever seen, but it turns out trying to play Minnesota with no center, it's not an effective strategy. You tell me who had a rougher night last night, J.J. Redick, Luka Doncic, or our king LeBron James?
Okay, so I'm not going to put it on JJ because it's not his fault that they don't have a center.
Buddy, well, if you're not going to put it on JJ, that puts you in the minority among people speaking into microphones because whether it was TNT last night or ESPN this morning, a lot of people put it on JJ.
I mean, it's not his fault that he doesn't have a center to try to stop the bleeding.
That's disrespectful to Jackson Hayes. Technically does have a C next to his name. C stands for center.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you saw how Jackson Hayes was playing before last night.
I'm familiar with Jackson Hayes.
I think there's a reason he didn't get into the game.
I understand.
No, so I'm not going to put it on him.
I think I had a quote about Jackson Hayes on draft night. The night he was selected. I think this is true.
What'd you say? Where did he play? Texas?
He played at Texas.
Yeah.
And I think the quote was, Jackson Hayes might go on to be an amazing basketball player someday, but at no point in his life has he ever been that.
Damn.
Not when he was 8,
Damn.
Not when he was 16, not when he was 18, not in his 1 year of college basketball. Jackson Hayes has never been a good basketball player. He's an interesting prospect. He moves the right way, and he measures the right way, but he's never actually been a competent basketball player. And all these years later, I stand by that.
Yeah,
I stand by that.
I think you're probably right on that one. Luka looked banged up. Like, I know, he was struggling to get up and down the floor last night.
If JJ had a bad night, Nico had a decent one.
Okay, but
we'll get to that.
Yeah, let's get to that because I got thoughts. But I think he got a little banged up there. He was grabbing his lower back, and I don't remember what the play was when he hurt his lower back, but he was like hobbling the rest of the game. I don't want to call out LeBron.
Who do you want to pin this Lakers failure on?
I don't want to. Do you know how I feel about
Who do you want to pin the Lakers failure on?
You know how I feel about our king and savior.
Luka or LeBron.
You know how I feel about our king and savior.
I will not let you put this on Jackson Hayes.
You know how I feel about our king and savior.
I will not let you put this on Austin Reeves. You have to put this on either JJ, Luka, or LeBron.
Did it not look like LeBron was kind of
tired because he's 40 and he just played every minute of the second half, circling back to JJ?
Yeah. I don't know. Who else is he gonna play? Who else is he gonna play? That roster, they got some tinkering to do. There's no doubt.
There's a whole bunch of NBA coaches who don't like their bench. Okay,
right.
Most notably Tom Thibodeau.
Yes, he will not play them.
They still use them, Bennett, and you want to know why?
They have to.
Because you have to play somebody.
You have to play somebody. You have to play somebody.
Because nobody disagrees with that except for J.J. Redick. And so he does that in the previous game, and then he gets asked about it yesterday pregame, throws a little temper.
Oh, he got mad at that. He did not like that. He stormed off. He stormed off the podium.
That is what my wife would refer to as a temper tantrum.
That was a bit of a temper tantrum. There's no question.
He threw a temper tantrum.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
He doesn't like being questioned. He's very sensitive.
Okay, in fairness, I thought that the reporter's question was like extremely specific. Like that would piss me off too if I was JJ Redick. Like the reporter was like, do you think in this moment you would maybe lean on a specific assistant in that situation?
It was a disrespectful question.
And you could tell JJ was like, just say what you want to say, dude. Like tell me exactly what you're saying here.
It's one of those. I know these press conference types of questions. Here's what it is. It's under the same umbrella of when somebody says, Coach, People are saying that maybe you should use your
People
bench
are
a little
saying-
bit more. How would you respond to that? No, you're saying just have some balls and ask me the question.
Ask the question.
Right. But the reporter sort of mealy mouthed it like, do you think you run into a situation in the second half where this time you might rely on your assistants? JJ Redick's like, you think I don't? First he was like, because I'm inexperienced, do you think I should rely on my assistants?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah, man. And he's like, beyond that, you think I don't rely on my assistants? I rely on my assistants every time out, including every time out last game, specifically every time out last game in the second half. Like, that's a disrespectful question. Their question is disrespectful. But coaches and players are asked disrespectful questions all the time. So you know what you do? You just say, like, if the question is, you think you will rely on your assistants, in the second half of this game? You just say, of course I would, just like I do in the second half of every game. I value my staff. I wouldn't be where I am without them. And, of course, I will rely on them just like I have all season.
Yep.
Then you just look over here, see if there's another question. You just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Nobody blinks if you answer it that way. But when you throw a temper tantrum and walk out, well, then it's just setting
It's going to make the rounds.
It's setting you. Yes, it makes the rounds. And then it doesn't help anything when your whole team looks tired, specifically your 40-year-old star looks tired. Luka can barely move, and LeBron looks 40.
Yeah.
It doesn't help anything. And I said sort of, in a condescending way, I know JJ Redick's the smartest guy in the world. He is actually a really smart guy and a brilliant basketball mind. The problem is you can't carry yourself that way and then have things like this happen to you and then get frustrated with the questions because anytime you do something unconventional on a big stage, you're going to get questioned about it. And sometimes it might work, right? But when it doesn't, people are going to ask you.
Yeah.
Like Nick Saban subbing out his starting quarterback at halftime of a national championship game. That is wildly unusual. It takes a lot of self-assurance to do something like that. It worked out, so it's one of the great coaching decisions of all time. But had it not worked out, he would have been criticized about that forever. And if he would have acted like the questions were unfair or stupid, he'd have been criticized for that part of it too. And so JJ just mishandled it. And I understand the frustration. I'm not saying I would be above being frustrated. Yeah, I got feelings too.
Yep.
But you got to handle that specific thing better because by the time we got to the postgame late last night, I know most people don't stay up that late, but I was up. I mean, it was Charles, Shaq, almost without exception. They were piling on him pretty good.
Yeah, they were.
For a variety of reasons. One, playing as starters too many minutes in the previous game, which they believe carried over into last night's game. Now, this is one of those where I don't feel like I'm in a position to argue with these people when they say things like this, whether it's Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Kendrick Perkins. Like, I feel like I can argue with them about other things, but not these types of things. Here's what I mean. I've never played in the NBA. I've never played 40-plus minutes in an NBA game. I've never played the entire second half of an NBA game. I don't know. I don't have any experience that would tell me what that would do to my body.
Yeah, I got you.
And how it would make me feel the next day, and by extension, the next game. But you know who does know how that kind of stuff feels? Those guys. They've actually experienced that.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk to me about what it's like to wake up, do a CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball podcast, immediately switch mics and do a Gary Parrish show, and then immediately throw on a sport coat and talk on TV for an hour. I could talk to you about that because that's my experience. I know what that's like. I don't know what it's like to play the entire second half of a playoff game while the other team's not doing it that way, and then have to come back a couple days later, play again. And what kind of toll does that take on my body? Particularly if I'm one star, maybe carrying around a little too much weight, and the other star, in my 22nd season at the age of 40. I don't know what that does, but Charles Barkley seems to know what that does, and so does Shaq, and so does Kendrick Perkins. And you know what they all say? It ain't good. It wasn't smart. You should not have played those starters that many minutes. Not only did it cost you at the end of Game 4, remember, they got run away from in the fourth quarter of Game 4. Not only did it cost you there, it cost you in Game 5 because your guys, specifically LeBron, looked like they didn't have anything else in the tank. They also jumped on JJ for just trying to play without a center. Like, Jackson Hayes sucks. We agree. But he is
big.
Rudy Gobert turned into Will Chamberlain. And most of that, perhaps all of that, is because you tried to play without a center.
Yeah. I mean, his starting bigs last night were Rui Hachimura and Dorian Finney-Smith.
But got away from that.
Yeah, and they got away from that too, yeah.
And just got real little. And so suddenly Rudy is in a position to be physically overwhelming, and he was. Julius Randle's in a position to be physically overwhelming, and he was. And whether it was the TNT guys or the ESPN guys, they're all just like, what are you doing, man? Like, it's okay to have interesting ideas and concepts in your head. Like, what if we went small? Sure, they probably hurt us on the offensive glass, but could we spread them out down here and create mismatches? Like, it's okay to have concepts in your mind. But at some point, it's playing out in front of you. And Rudy Gobert looks like Will Chamberlain. So you got to do something. That was the main complaint. It's a nice thing to think about in a boardroom, in your coach's office, right?
Yep.
In a hotel ballroom. But once you're seeing it and it's not working, you have to do something about it. And they never really did anything about it. Then also, when he finally goes to his bench, Maxi Kleber playing?
He hasn't played
since January.
Yeah.
I thought
that was desperation.
But I thought the TNT guys made a good point about this. And this is another one of those things where you might not, if you never lived through it, been in the locker room, you might not even have a grasp for this. It's not something that jumped out to me, but once it was said, I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. Here's what they said. When you play your starters the entire second half of Game 4, you are telling your bench you have no confidence in them whatsoever. You are just, wherever you think they are, you're pushing them further the other direction instead of pulling them and making them a part of this. You hear coaches all the time say things like, it's going to take all of us to do this. But when you show your bench, for the first time in NBA history, I'm going to be the coach who uses none of you in the second half of a playoff game. No coach has ever believed in their bench less than I believe in you, and I'm about to show you. And I'm about to show you, and it's going to require me playing a 40-year-old all 24 minutes from the second half. That's how little I think of you. The TNT guys were like, that destroys your bench. The confidence in themselves, the belief in you. And then when you finally go to your bench and you bring in somebody who hasn't played since January 25th, it just reemphasizes all of that. I'd rather play somebody who hasn't played since January 25th than use any of you clowns.
Well, none of them will be there next year.
But I know. I thought that was an interesting point. If you are actually trying to get anything from your bench, you can't treat them that you're pushing them the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting point.
I did too.
So yeah, folks were piling on JJ pretty good. And then LeBron got a lot of it too.
You know what I think, just watching that series with him, I did not think it was LeBron's 40 and it's really starting to show. I think it was more of LeBron knows they cannot win this series with this roster right now.
LeBron's 40 years old and has a hard time mustering the energy at this age to play hard on both ends of the court. And so where you start to sacrifice first is on the defensive end of the court. This is the problem with this. This is the problem. First off, they don't have enough good pieces.
Right.
Join the club.
Right.
But the two great pieces they have.
They do have two great pieces.
But one of them's too old to play defense consistently, and the other one
can't play defense.
And refuses to even try. All right? And we'll get to him in a minute, but let's focus on LeBron for a second. He looked tired, looked like he didn't have much. 9 of 21 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 22 points. He was minus 14, plus minus. He's now 2 and 12 in his last 14 playoff games. That's an interesting number. 2 and 12 in his last 14 playoff games. So if we've got a general manager here saying, hey, the numbers are the numbers, we're not close. That's what Zach Kleiman's saying here in Memphis. If you're Rob Pelinka, don't you have to say something similar out there? I mean, LeBron is the centerpiece of this thing, and we're 2 and 12 in our past 14 playoff games.
Right.
We're not close. I did think LeBron's post-game comments, you know how much I love our king. Mm-hmm. I thought that was weak.
What did he say again?
He was asked about the Lakers' lack of bigs.
Oh, yeah, the AD thing, yeah.
And he said, well, I don't want to get it wrong. He said, no comment. My guy AD said what we needed, and then he was gone the following week. You can't have it both ways. You can't, when somebody asks you about acquiring Luka Doncic, say, my God, I can't believe we got to get a guy of this caliber. I love my boy AD, and I didn't have any role in this, but it's Luka Doncic. You can't one day say the trade is awesome and smart and the best thing that's ever happened to the franchise, and then talk about, well, they got AD out of here. What? Come on, pick a side.
Come on,
you can't have it both ways.
And listen. I know we'll never know. They would not have moved AD if they thought that LeBron would not have been on board with that.
Of course, and the way you know LeBron would have been on board with it is because LeBron's a smart basketball person,
right?
And literally every smart basketball person on the planet is on board with it. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think even most dumb basketball people on the planet are on board with it. Like the only person on the planet who seemed to even consider moving Luka Doncic for this particular package is Nico Harrison. He's the only one who seems to think it was smart in the whole world, as far as I can tell. So you can't have it both ways. Don't talk about how great it is to have Luka Doncic and acquire him in this way, and then when the season's over and people are asking real questions, be like, well, you know, they got AD out of here for speaking up. No, they got AD out of here not for speaking up. They got him out of here because they were offered Luka Doncic. Frankly, they'd probably got LeBron out of here if they could, if offered Luka Doncic. Mm-hmm. They didn't get AD out of here because he spoke up about a need for another big. They got him out of here because Nico Harrison was dumb enough to say, you want Luka Doncic? Here you go. That's why AD got out of there. You can't have it both ways. I will say that's a fair criticism of LeBron, I think. Like, you can't have it both ways, buddy. Don't talk out of both sides of your mouth. What I find less fair is people mocking him for saying or suggesting he needs some time to sit down with his family and think about things. Like, that's the most normal thing in the world.
Yeah,
at his age, with his wealth, with the miles on his body. Like, I just think mocking somebody for doing quite literally what any of us would want to do at his age with his accomplishments, like mocking somebody for that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Like people are like, oh, and LeBron's going to sit down with his family. Well, of course he is. Why wouldn't he? He has a wife. He has children. He has other interests. His body doesn't feel the way it used to feel. I know it still looks amazing. We would all kill to look like that, but it doesn't feel the way it used to feel. Getting up in the morning doesn't feel the way it used to feel. Going to bed at night doesn't feel the same way. Getting ready for a game is a process that you didn't have to used to endure, but now it's a daily thing. So if you want to bang on him for, well, my guy AD spoke up, and bang on him for that. That's reasonable. That was a goofy quote. I'm going to sit down with my family and think about this and figure out what I want to do. I don't have an answer right now. That's the most normal thing he's maybe ever said. That's the most normal thing he could do. I'm not going to ever mock somebody for doing normal things that I myself would do in a similar situation. So I thought that criticism, or even just the mocking of it, is silly. Mm-hmm. As for Luka, rough night.
Yeah, no, he was bad. Yep.
Looked hurt, looked exhausted, terrible on defense, 7 of 18 from the field. Getting mocked by the TNT guys afterwards. They're showing the highlights. Do you see Charles Barkley? Mm-hmm. Charles like, yeah, his back. Ernie's like, and it looks like he hurt his back here and he aggravated something and he wasn't. And Charles is like, oh, yeah, just watch. Look at his back. On defense, oh, buddy, it's hurt. Mm-hmm. Now watch this on offense. Back looks fine over here.
Yeah, that's a
But
good
now
point.
we're back over on defense. Oh, his back's hurting again. Can't move. Mm-hmm. On offense, though, looks like his back's okay. Like getting mocked. Defensive possessions going viral. Buddy, when this becomes a part of your narrative, then people are just focused in on it. And every time it happens to you, it becomes a big deal, even if it happens to people around you at a similar rate. We won't even notice those. It's all you. And that is now where he's at. People talk about his lack of effort and effectiveness on defense as much as they talk about anything.
Right.
The conversation has turned from Luka is amazing too. Luka is heavy. Luka doesn't even try on defense. And stop talking about he got the Mavericks to the finals last season and just go, I can't believe he got the Mavericks to the finals last season. Because how did he do that playing defense like this? It's something he's going to have to address, or it will not go away. He got blown by a lot of possessions last night, but there's one that went viral. And it's very similar to this. Once something becomes attached to you, people are looking for it, and when they see it, they clip it, and then they spread it to the world. It's not unlike different parts of national conversations, but when it becomes a narrative that Joe Biden can't speak clearly anymore, can't even read a prompter anymore, when that becomes a narrative, then every time he speaks, you got the cameras on him and you're waiting. And he's going to slip up because it's true, like he's struggling to speak. But everybody who speaks for long periods of time flubs a sentence every once in a while. Everybody. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, me, you, Chris Vernon. But when it comes to part of your narrative, then people are waiting on it. And when it happens, they clip it and then they spread it to the world. And it becomes, oh my God, this guy can't get one sentence out. That's where we're at with Luka right now. Every time somebody blows by him, it's blown up into a thing. But it's a real thing. It's a real thing. He does not guard. Even before last night's depressing performance, Zach Lowe was ranting about him on a podcast earlier in the week. Like, yo, man, you got to at least try. And this ain't like regular season January Tuesday night against the Hornets. This is an elimination game at home. You're not trying. Maybe he was hurt last night, but like you weren't trying in game 1. You couldn't try in game 2. You couldn't try in game 3. You couldn't try in game 4. That's a real thing connected to him. And so if you were up late last night and you did just a Twitter search for Nico Harrison, which I did, and it was hilarious.
It was really good.
I mean, LOL.
Yes.
Funny, funny, funny. But also, I'll never relitigate this. This will always be a stupid trade. Always. And I know nights like last night lead people to say things like maybe Nico knew what he was doing. But that will forever, at best, only be partly true. Only be partly true. At best, partly true. The part where Nico might have, quote, known what he was doing is to just bet against Luka Doncic's future. Just say, hey, man, I've been around this guy every day. I'm telling you, I know who he is. Y'all think y'all know who he is. I see it. I'm around it. I know who he is. This guy doesn't work. This guy's got bad habits. His body's already breaking down. This is the same franchise that knew when to punt on Chandler Parsons. Before we give this guy because our options are either get rid of him now or eventually give him $350 million. And we give him $350 million, he's going to get heavier. He's going to stay out of shape. He's never going to guard. And I just don't think he's going to stay healthy. And we're going to have $350 million in street clothes more often than we would prefer. We got to get out of the Luka Doncic business. I don't believe that's right at all. I think that's still silly. If he ever brought that to me, I'd say, shut up, or I'm going to fire you if you keep talking like that. But it doesn't mean it's a bet that might not win. I think it's a stupid bet, but sometimes stupid bets win. Hey, blackjack player, you got 19. You want to hit or stay? I'll hit. That's a stupid bet. But if you get a 2, and it's possible to get a 2, sometimes stupid bets win. Nico made a stupid bet, but it might win. If Luka Doncic is always heavy, never in shape, always lumbering around, aggravating something, in street clothes, never guarding, it might end up being a stupid bet that pays off. But he'll only ever be partly right. Because here's the truth. Luka Doncic could take a chainsaw and cut both of his ACLs and never play basketball again. And Nico Harrison will still only be partly right. Because even if you're right about now's the time to get out of the Luka Doncic business, he always went about it the wrong way. Always went about it the wrong way. Even if you are right in the sense that it's time to get out of the Luka Doncic business for all of the reasons stated, he went about it the wrong way. He only did a deal with the Lakers, only discussed it with Rob Pelinka. The right way to do it is to let the world know we are ready to get out of the Luka Doncic business. who wants him. Make your offers. And the offers that would have come in would have given the Mavericks the biggest haul in the history of NBA trades. They would have gotten the biggest package in the history of NBA trades had they just done it that way. Instead, they got an older, also unreliable Anthony Davis as the centerpiece of a package. That's why this will always be stupid, even if it was smart to get out of the Luka Doncic business. The way you executed what you were trying to do was nonsensical, illogical, counterproductive. So before we start celebrating Nico Harrison after a night like last night, don't ever forget that.
I also think too, I think you do have to take into account like what your fan base cares about.
Of course,
and they love that guy.
Of course, you. That matters.
Yes,
that matters there. You know where it matters here.
It matters here. I was gonna compare it to like okay. I'm not saying that this would ever happen. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, let's say you moved Ja for like a bunch of draft picks and like a lesser player that's a good player. The fan base would be furious.
I'm not saying you can never consider moving Ja Morant.
Sure.
I'm just saying before you consider that, you also need to consider what it does to the city. For whatever his flaws might be, broadly speaking here, people love him.
Yes, the fan base loves him. Yes, absolutely.
He's incredibly popular. Game 3 inside FedEx Forum, I'm down on the court with my middle son. He wants to stand on the hardwood with some players in the background. He wants me to take a picture with Josh standing right behind him. All right? I'm not saying you can't ever consider anything. At this point, I mean, we're 1-4 in playoff series in the past 5 years. You could consider anything you want to consider, but that is something that would need to be considered. And the fact that it wasn't considered enough in Dallas is just another part of this that, again, just not smart.
Right.
Just not smart. Last night was not a good night for Luka Doncic, but don't twist it into Nico Harrison's a genius. Both these statements can be true.
Right.
Last night was a rough night for Luka Doncic. Nico Harrison still had no idea what he was doing. I apologize to Mike Wallace. I've been rambling too long. We'll get to him next.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
With a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
This week, we're going to run down the hits and the misses from WrestleMania 41.
The main event, NXT title on the line, Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. One of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen in my life.
I'm shocked.
And it made history because it's the first time there's 3 black men highlighting the NXT pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was dope too.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling Weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Bill Ford Tough Studio, and on Thursdays in the second segment, I'm joined by Mike Wallace, senior editor, Grind City Media, typically about 15 minutes earlier than we are right now. That's very irresponsible of me, reckless with your time. Accept my apology, please.
Hey, I was entertained, man. I thought you made some great points. No apology necessary for that, man. And it made a lot of sense what you were saying. You know what I'm saying? No, it's all good. It's all good.
You're very nice. Before we get to the Grizzlies, let's focus on kind of what I was talking about in that opening segment where the Lakers get eliminated in 5 games. Luka looks hobbled and exhausted. LeBron looks his age. JJ Redick is getting questioned. It just sort of is a reminder of how quickly everything can flip. The Lakers were feeling good about themselves and thinking they were going to get out of the first round, a week ago. And now LeBron's contemplating his future. People are starting to wonder if maybe Nico Harrison was smart to get out of the Luka Doncic business, and JJ Redick is being mocked for always being the smartest guy in the room, but not actually looking like it on the sideline. It was a neat night in the NBA.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I mean, you absolutely talked about everything that went on with the Grizzlies in that situation, not the Grizzlies, the Lakers in that situation, and all of those things are true. I mean, I think whenever it was going to end for the Lakers, if it was going to end short of an NBA championship, there were going to be some major questions. The fact that it ended in the first round only amplifies those questions and those, the naysayers. The Lakers always give you enough to satisfy whatever side of the fence you're on. Like, they had enough fodder there for the doubters and the critics who said this will never work. And, Luka just isn't the person you want to build around. And it gave you a lot of fodder for those who say, okay, they lost in the first round. Minnesota was only a game behind these guys anyway. So it could have flipped with Minnesota being, 3 and the Lakers being 6 by just a game and a half or whatever it was in the standings. And it wouldn't be looked at differently. And plus, these guys just got together 2 months ago. Give it time. So no matter what side you're on, you have enough evidence to move forward with it. Me personally, I think it came together so fast that they need at least another year. But I think next year has to be a championship or bust year for the Lakers if they're going to keep LeBron and Luka together, because LeBron doesn't have a lot of time. And then you got to figure out whether Luka's going to be a guy you're going to build around and extend that major supermax to.
On Luka, last night his back was clearly aggravating him, so I understand the context of that. But broadly speaking, he's been bad defensively forever. And in this series, it's one thing to be bad defensively in January, but it is striking when the playoffs start. The intensity picks up with just about everybody, but it doesn't with him, at least on that end of the court. You've been around this sport a long time. He would never be a great defender because he is physically limited in a variety of ways. But a lot of it is also effort. I guess if I were trying to create an analogy, it'd be like somebody who, all right, you're not the brightest guy, the brightest student in school. And so if you don't study, you're going to get Fs. But if you just tried a little bit, you could get Cs. If you just tried a little bit, you could get some Cs. He's not even trying to get Cs. In all your years covering the sport, can somebody flip that? Can they go from being an F defender to a C just by trying? Just like, hey, man, the whole world is watching you. They say you need to increase your effort. Do it. Does that ever really happen?
You know what? And the first name that comes to mind in the contemporary concept is James Harden.
There you go.
Remember, Harden was considered a turnstile defensively. Ole every single step in his peak years with Houston and the way he was playing before, because it was all offense. Now you look at James Harden, and there are times when, at least with the Grizzlies, they put James Harden on Jaren Jackson Jr. Now I know coming off the Oklahoma City series, where you had some smaller guys defending Jaren Jackson Jr. is not a novel concept. But the fact of the matter is, James Harden at least shows the effort on that side of the floor in matchups by using his physicality. Luka Doncic has all of the IQ. He has all of the instincts and all of the timing to be a phenomenal offensive player. Those same things could apply if he was willing to do it on the defensive side. He's not going to make first team All-NBA defense or anything like that, but you have to at least give yourself a chance to be competitive and responsible on that side of the floor. And he chooses not to at this point. And he's gotten away with it so long that, who's going to hold him accountable in that situation? That's the question right now. So, again, I'm with you. I think, and this is the bigger thing, I've always said I don't fault Nico and the Mavericks for making the decision to part with Luka because they knew him better than anyone. And when you're investing $350 million into a face of a franchise, that it has to be someone who's going to align with your business venture and who's also going to align with your future, and someone that you are going to invest in that's going to be worthwhile. This is a 5-year investment. Luka's still young. I got why they said, hey, I'd rather not do that. I also understand how it was irresponsibly gone about. In terms, there were different ways to do it, but it's look, man. There's only here's the thing, and this is a broader, referendum on the Supermax. Really, the Supermax is only supposed to go to 5 or 6 players in the NBA. Period. It should not go to 15 to 18 players in the NBA. That's the 18th best player or the last player on the third team all defense should not be earning the same salary as the top second, 1 or 2 or third best player in the NBA, because those responsibilities are completely different. But that's where we are right now, and that's the decision that these teams are having to make.
And that is something that will have to be addressed in a future CBA, because it's one of those things where the reason it's put in there is not what it's actually creating. My point being this: the reason it's put in there is to give franchises like the Grizzlies an opportunity to keep their stars, because you can give them so much more money than anybody else. But to your point, when you branch it all the way out to extend it to third team All-NBA, that is where a fringe All-NBA player, and we all love him, but he's a fringe All-NBA player like Jaren Jackson, could sneak onto that third team. And now you're in a position where you can give him $350 million. But, who wants to give Jaren Jackson Jr. $350 million? He's not Nikola Jokic. He's not Giannis Antetokounmpo. I say all this respectfully. We love him, but there is a difference between an MVP caliber player in his prime and somebody who can sneak on to a third-team All-NBA, and the idea that we could get to a point where the smartest thing to do would literally let somebody like Jaren Jackson Jr. walk before you give them $350 million. And when you are putting franchises in a position to make that decision, there's something wrong with the structure of the league.
Yeah, no question about it. And again, I think that structure is flawed. I really do, especially when you add in a layer. And we're getting way in the weeds here. This is NBA collective bargaining nerd talk. But if you add perspective to it, though, when you add the qualifier of having to play 65 games, so you can theoretically look at a guy like a Luka or whoever. Just think of a top 5 player who didn't play 65 games. They can't even qualify for All-NBA. So that means that somebody at the back end is going to be somebody who wouldn't have made All-NBA second or third team is now getting a slot because somebody who should be getting that kind of contract didn't meet the 65-game criteria, right? So now you're bringing in, the 18th, 19th, maybe 20th best player in the NBA who is now eligible because somebody else didn't qualify for the 65-game plateau. So it just complicates it. I think they're going to have to look at that structure again. But when you have so many billions of dollars being bought into the collective bargaining agreement, though, that money has to be doled out. Like, to me, and this is a completely different thought, it baffles me that there's a prospect and there's a potential that PJ Haggerty is going to be making twice what Scottie Pippen Jr. is going to be making next year, and to play half as many games. There's only 40 games in the college basketball season. Okay. There's 82 regular season games in the NBA. PJ Haggerty is going to probably if he gets $3 million, he's going to be making double what Scottie Pippen is going to be making next year. I can't understand that for the life of me, but that's the system that we're in now, both in the NIL era and the NBA Supermax era. It's all over the place right now.
And a byproduct of that is that, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's like 111. It's a little more than 100 underclassmen applied for early entry to the NBA draft this year. And it's like and it's the lowest number in like a long time. And the reason is because in a different era at Texas Tech, JT Toppin wins Big 12 Player of the Year, goes to the Elite Eight, enters the draft, and he's the 24th pick or the 36th pick. But Texas Tech said, here's $4 million to come back to school, and he's like, cool, I won't even mess with the draft. And so you're seeing fewer players even enter the draft, and it's because of all the money that is available in college basketball right now. The other game last night, the Warriors and Rockets blow out Golden State. to remain alive. And after the game, Steph Curry is icing his thumb. He's clearly bothered. It's been bothering him since January, but it had been re-aggravated, and there's a lot of film to suggest that Dillon Brooks hit it intentionally on a jump shot. And then Dillon Brooks more or less confirmed that after the game, said, if I know a guy's got a bad ankle, I'm going to attack that ankle. More or less saying, if I know he's got a bad thumb, I'm going to try to attack that thumb. This is high-stakes stuff. I get it, and I don't even hear him getting criticized too much for saying it out loud or doing it, but it does seem kind of wild to wrap your head around. The greatest shooter of all time's got a thumb injury, and so I'm going to bang on it every time I can to try to hurt him. It's just, you don't usually hear people talk like this. What did you make of those statements?
You don't usually hear people talk like this in this era of the NBA, but certainly that was in the 80s and the 90s. Those things were targeted, if not talked about. They were certainly part of the scheme to go after a guy. And again, to that, I would say this: don't be surprised if Dillon Brooks gets tossed in the next game. But if it's a borderline flagrant, he's going to get teed up or tossed based on how he goes about that, because you can't say that about one of the most elite players the league has ever seen and then go out there and be reckless the next time you're on the floor and expect to get away with it. You're Dillon Brooks. You're not Draymond Green. Draymond Green's probably one of the few players in the NBA today that could get away with doing that. And, that it's disturbing because it crosses the line from competitive edge and psychological warfare to, okay, you're nursing something that the world knows you're nursing, and I'm going to go out there and figure out a way to do something other than defend you straight up and make sure that I can clip your finger to make sure it hurts even more or potentially knocks you out of the game. That's not competitive. That's asinine when it comes to that. And again, that's how Dillon Brooks is. That's how he creates his edge, and that's how Ime Udoka coaches his team. That he wants them to be on edge, but there's a line that you can cross that can make sure that you're not advancing out of this. And that's the level of maturity that these young Rockets and these Rockets will have to learn in the NBA playoffs when it comes to that.
Unsurprisingly, after the game, the Warriors, from Steve Kerr on down, were unconcerned. Hey, we've been here before, and specifically mentioned 2022, the Memphis series. Draymond Green talked about this last night. He said, this is a lot like that series in 2022 against the Grizzlies. We're up 3-1. We go to Memphis. They blow us out. Draymond even last night said, okay, in Houston, they didn't play whoop that trick, but they might as well have. It was the same type of thing. And then you saw what happened the next game. We went back home to Golden State, knocked it out in advance. The sentiment being, we'll be fine. And I get all that, and it's wonderful to have those experiences to grab onto. But I also have been around long enough to know that when you start not getting concerned about shortcomings or slip-ups or losses and just be like, hey, we've been through this before and we got out of it last time, so that means we'll get out of it this time. You start playing around like that, eventually you look up and they got you. And I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but I would like them to show a little more concern than the relaxed nature of, we've been through this before and it all worked out, we'll be fine. I just feel like that's a good way to get yourself caught in a bad spot.
It is, but because they do have the track record of having done this before, it's almost like if there's a team that I'm going to give the trust level and the benefit of the doubt to, that they can figure out how to close out a series that they're up now 3-2, it's the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they have two chances to win one game. Houston has to win both. And I think going back to the Bay, I've seen firsthand how much better and infused and energized those guys are when they're playing in front of their home fans with these kind of stakes on the line. But they are older. There's mileage on their legs. Jimmy Butler's dealing with the pelvic issue. Steph had one of those at the end of the regular season. You're not sure what you're going to get from some of your role players. They're either feast or famine. But so it's one of those situations where you can't play around with fire. But the Warriors, again, if I'm a betting guy and they got two chances to win this series, I think they should win it. But Houston doesn't have they have no fear in them. Like, even when they're playing horribly, they don't fear the situation. They just go out there and keep playing the way that they want to play. And that is a team that can be, sort of a kryptonite to the Warriors if this thing gets up and down and the athletes are on display there and the athleticism is there. So it's not ideal, but I do trust the Warriors to be able to pull out one of these games, and especially if the next one is going to be in the Bay, this is what they set up everything for anyway.
Last thing before I get you out of here, and I asked Chris Vernon this question yesterday, and I understand it takes two to tango, and just because you want to do something or try to do something, it doesn't mean that it can get done. All of those qualifiers. Yeah. If I put you in charge of the Memphis Grizzlies right now, what are you trying to do with this roster? Like, among the options most people throw out, what Vernon said is add veterans who have accomplished something, done something. What some other people would say is try to break up the core three in some way. And what other people would say is keep the core three and just tinker around the edges. What would you do? Mike Wallace is in charge of the Grizzlies. What are you attempting to do just as soon as it's time to start attempting to do stuff?
I would first and foremost admit that, all intentions were to get this core to a championship, and we've done things over the last 3 years to try to get them a step further and further, and it hasn't worked. I will admit that, hey, some things we know, some things we don't know. You're a smarter person if you can admit what you don't know and then go out and seek the help that it takes to get that thing corrected from that standpoint. First thing I would do if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, and hypothetically, right, I'm not in charge. I'm not even an influencer on what the office does. But what I will do is I will get a strong-minded, proven head basketball coach that can take Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane and hold them ultimately accountable and say, okay, we are going to fix what our shortcomings are. There has to be a better way where you three can play together in more of a cohesive unit. We have to do that. Look at the Denver Nuggets and look at how Jamal Murray and Jokic play with each other with Michael Porter Jr. Look at Boston. Even though Tatum and Brown are two dynamic wing players who both need the ball to be effective, look at how they operate in concert with the supporting cast that they have around them, and everybody can feast off of that. What is our system going to be, and what is our voice going to be? Those are the two things that are most essential right now first: the direction, the voice, the leadership, and the accountability. You can tinker around the margins. They've done all of those other things with bringing in veterans. They've gone through that. But it's not about veterans anymore. Your veterans that you need are the ones that you're paying $100 million to collectively next year. And that's Ja, Jaren, and Dez. One more shot to get this right. You guys know the circumstances. And if it's not working through the first 40 games of the season or 30 games of the season, then we'll look at some things at trade deadline. And that will be a clear directive, not only just to the players, but to the fan base and to everybody that says we're going all in, pushing our chips at the center of the table with this core, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to hold ourselves accountable up into the trade deadline, and we'll look at where we are at that point.
That all sounds reasonable to me. That's Mike Wallace, senior editor, Grind City Media. Make sure you're following him on X, at @MyMikeCheck. That's at @MyMikeCheck. Appreciate your time, buddy, and thank you for your patience.
Anytime, man. Thank you.
Bye-bye. That's Mike Wallace, senior editor, Grind City Media. When we come back, Jason Munz, the Commercial Appeal, is reporting that Penny Hardaway hosted another transfer portal target over the weekend. He's a fellow AAC member. We'll talk about that next. The Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
In honor of George Foreman, decided to do a pick six on 6 greatest heavyweight boxers of all time.
Number 4, my guy, Mike Tyson. There is no greater feat that I've had. Like, if I had my Mount Rushmore of things that I've accomplished in my life, the very first time I beat Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson Punch-Out.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that. They dropped these $900 hyper boots. That
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're gonna get seated this. So who's gonna actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now, I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Jason Munz is reporting that the University of Memphis hosted another transfer portal target this weekend. He's a Temple Owl. Bennett, could I interest you in a Temple Owl?
Wait, I thought we already got a Temple Owl.
We do already have a Temple Owl. Would you like another Temple Owl?
Where'd they finish?
I thought you'd be more excited about getting another Temple Owl.
You know I like owls. You know I like owls.
It doesn't sound like you like owls.
Hang on, man. Let me just see. I want to say that they weren't as bad. Oh no, they were terrible. They were 17 and 15.
You were okay with one Temple Owl, but maybe not a second.
I'm just worried about getting a bunch of players from a team that was 17 and 15 last year.
I understand your concern.
Just being in the AAC of all places.
I understand
just a little
your
concern. Nah, I like good players if he's a good player.
But what if I told you?
Yeah.
Not only
God.
is it a couple of players from a team that finished 17 and 15 in the AAC, but what if I told you it was just the 4th and 5th best scorers for a team that finished 17 and 15? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? PJ Haggerty won't take our money. What do you want me to do?
I'm not liking what you're selling.
I would like to have a PJ Haggerty and a Dane Danger, but we might have to settle for the 4th and 5th best scorers from a Temple team that went 17 and 15. What do you want me to do?
Tell me more. Tell me more.
That's about all I got.
That's all you got?
His name's Elijah Gray, and Jason Munn says he visited this weekend, and he,
Okay, all right, hang on, because I want to give you like my concerns here. Here's what I'll say. Because typically these AAC Avengers that we go out and get, they typically go off again. Like that's the theme, right? As you go back and look at what they did against Memphis the previous season, they typically had a really, really good game against Memphis. I mean, he had 10 points in the second game, I guess.
I thought you'd be more excited about an Elijah Gray.
I mean, I like good players.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
I like good players.
Here's the truth.
Hey, role players are important.
Role players are important.
Yes.
Every team's got to have role players.
Has to have those.
Elijah Gray.
Look at the Lakers last night. They didn't have enough.
And now look at them.
Yeah, look at them now.
Now look at them.
Eliminated.
I bet the Lakers could have used an Elijah Gray.
Of course they could have.
I bet there's a moment in time where Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner are sitting courtside, and they're like, we don't need no Elijah Gray. But then sit through 48 minutes of that last night. I bet you Timothy Chalamet would have loved to have had an Elijah Gray last night.
The one thing that
ain't nothing wrong with having a couple of Temple Owls come off your bench, Bennett.
The one thing that worries me a little bit is he's a forward who doesn't really rebound that well. And in the AAC,
give him $350 million then.
In the AAC, that's a problem. Wow. I'm just being honest.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say. Because every once in a while you bump into somebody and they'll say, how the Tigers going to be? And I'll say, I don't know. Because like their two best players, theoretically, could be PJ Haggerty and Dane Danger, or it could be a couple of Temple Owls. We don't know, all right? Like their two best players could be PJ Haggerty and Dane Danger. Like that's still technically possible in this moment. Likely? I don't think likely. But possible? Sure, I guess possible. PJ Haggerty is still considering Memphis. And Dane Danger is applying for a waiver.
Yes, he did this week, I believe.
Will he
got
get
that
it?
news, yeah.
I have no idea. But you can apply for waivers, and sometimes they're granted, and it doesn't always have to make sense.
I just know that this team needs bigs that can rebound, and he doesn't appear to be that.
Oh, no. I bet you Timothy Chalamet would have liked to have had an Elijah Gray last night as the Lakers were having their season end.
Wait, no. Timothy Chalamet's a Knicks fan.
Yeah, but he was still courtside at the Lakers game last night.
Okay, he needs to pick. I love Timothy Chalamet. I know I'm getting off track here, but let's pick our allegiance here.
I think
you can't do the back and forth.
I think he probably loves the Knicks. And also Kylie Jenner.
Yeah, I got. He's also just a hoops fan, right?
Yes,
he's a hoops fan.
So you go to New York, and you support the Knicks.
What was he wearing?
He was just wearing. He was dressed exactly like Timothy Chalamet.
He didn't have on Lakers gear, did he?
No, I think he had. Well, he had on a Kobe shirt. But that's fine.
That's
it's Kobe.
Kobe.
It's
that's
Kobe.
You can do that.
You can do that.
Yes,
That's Kobe.
Of course.
Kobe's his own thing.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, he had on a Kobe shirt.
I think that's fine.
I think if you love the Knicks and you love Kylie Jenner, and I think if you were in a position to love the Knicks and Kylie Jenner, you would do both those things, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You would. Wouldn't it be fun?
Well, I'm happily married, but
I know
I'm
that.
talking like hype at the. I got you. I
know that, but let's pretend you were a Knicks fan and you had access to courtside seats. You're a lifelong Knicks fan. This would be a fun time to be inside Madison Square Garden, sitting on the court, right?
Yes.
As long as you're not next to Tracy Morgan.
Oh yeah, that's right. He might puke on you. No, that was a sad. That was a rough situation.
He's unlikely to puke on you. Think of all the Tracy Morgan games that you've experienced. You look on television, there's Tracy Morgan. He's only thrown up all over the court one time. Just once, right? So you going to let that define him?
No, absolutely not.
It could happen to anybody.
Yeah, of course it could.
It happens to almost nobody, all right? But it could happen to anybody. It happens to almost nobody, but it could happen to anybody. So I think if you're Timothy Chalamet, when you're on the East Coast, you support the New York Knicks because, like, man, this is a great time to do that. And when you're on the West Coast, because you love Kylie Jenner, and who wouldn't love Kylie Jenner?
She's great.
She's great. Then you sit down on the court at Crypto.com Arena. I have no issue with it.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with it. I have no issue with it. All right? Bet they could have used an Elijah Gray last night. That's what we were talking about. Here's what I believe with the Tigers.
Okay.
Buddy, this one's all over the place, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
Here's what I believe with the Tigers. They will either get some combination of PJ Haggerty and Dane Danger back, perhaps both. And if they were to get both back and combine them with the roster that is seemingly in place right now, that is a preseason top 25 team.
Yes.
Okay. If PJ Haggerty decides he'd rather go to Ole Miss or NC State or Texas or somewhere else, and Dane Danger's waiver request is denied, I think Memphis will still be the pick in the AAC. But they will be an unranked preseason team picked to win their one-bid league.
I think that's fair.
That's where they'll be.
I think that's fair.
It'll be one of those things. They'll either be the projected first-place team in the AAC with PJ Haggerty and or Dane Danger and possibly ranked in the preseason, if not probably ranked in the preseason. If they had both those guys, I would rank them in the preseason, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Just one of them, I don't know. Both of them, certainly. They'll either be that, some version of that, or they won't have those guys, and they'll still be good enough on paper to be projected to win their league, but not good enough on paper to be ranked in the preseason AP poll.
Yeah.
It'll be one of those.
I think that's reasonable.
It'll be. So keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, man. I still kind of stand on, like, I think if you can get, if one of those gets done, if PJ or Dane is back, like, I think you're feeling really good coming into the season.
You're at least feeling better.
Yeah.
You're feeling better than you otherwise would feel. Big decisions to come.
Yep.
We'll keep you updated.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
Interesting story I read this morning. Josh Jacobs. You know Josh Jacobs, right?
Yes.
So he plays for the Packers, but in college he played at Alabama. And while in college at Alabama, he played with Henry Ruggs, who, of course, was drafted by the Raiders. Receiver, career going fine up until the point he got behind the wheel of a car after drinking, excessive speed, car crash. He killed a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all on video. It's
like worse than what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad. And so now he's in prison, and serving a minimum of 36 months. But there is a chance he could be paroled in 2026. And he's still a young man.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that Josh Jacobs ended up detailing in this interview is like, I still keep in touch with him. I talk to him all the time. I take care of him. And by take care of him, I assume that means send him money or take care of his mom or, Josh Jacobs explains, like, I know this guy's family. I know, like this. And he said one of the things he's doing is keeping in shape. He's training in prison, and he is training because he is hopeful that when he is released from prison, perhaps as soon as 2026, that he'll have another opportunity to play in the NFL. Your favorite team is the Tennessee Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Henry Ruggs is paroled in 2026, and he's going to hold a workout. And he looks the part. He's like, okay, this guy can run still, and the Titans are interested. You comfortable with them signing Henry Ruggs straight out of prison?
Man, I'm all for second chances. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I just don't know if, I think, when I say that, I'm all for, second chances on life. I think playing in the NFL is a privilege that only a handful of people get to do. I'm not sure he deserves that. I mean, dude, that, the details of what happened that night are, horrendous. That lady burned alive in her car.
She burned alive.
Yeah, because he was being stupid.
He was being drunk. Stupid, sure, yes.
Yeah.
But
being an idiot.
Yeah, no getting around it. I'm not. Yeah. But the drunk led to the stupid decision.
Yes.
The alcohol led to the stupid decision. Or maybe the lack of maturity led to the stupid decision, and the alcohol just put it to another. He made a terrible decision, one that people make all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think people make less now than they used to. There was a time when I was younger and in the bars where everybody can say, just get an Uber, but it didn't exist.
Yeah.
All right? And, hey, just call a cab. You ever tried to call a cab in Memphis?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I have.
I don't think I've tried to call a cab.
Oh, I can remember.
Actually, yes, I have. I tried to call a cab when I worked at radio for Stephen A. Smith. He was doing his radio show. He was in Memphis doing a speaking engagement. Came to our studios to do his show. We tried to get him a cab. Didn't work.
If you tried to call, go back to 2002. Yeah. It's 2002. You're in a bar in downtown Memphis, and you're gonna get a cab.
Yeah,
that's a process.
That is a process. Yes.
I mean, that's 45 minutes, maybe, maybe
for sure.
Right. So back then, I do think people would drink and I'll take my chances.
I'm not waiting over an hour to get a cab.
I would be lying to you if I told you I never took a chance that I shouldn't have taken. All right. So he made a horrible decision, but it's raise your hand if you've never made a horrible decision.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hopefully I never make a decision so horrible that it results in something like this.
Mm-hmm.
His resulted in the nightmare of all nightmares. He killed a woman. She burned to death in her car. People could hear her screaming, burning to death in her car. And he's just sitting on the side of the road, confused and, that equal parts, or at least some parts drunk and some parts in shock. And I don't know what that must be like, but I bet it's a nightmare. So I hear you, everything you say.
Mm-hmm.
But this quote stood out to me. Tell me what you make of this quote.
Okay.
From Josh Jacobs. He said, when I think about it, what happened, I instantly get mad. He said, and then when I start finding out more about the story and about how they were supposed to be racing, so he implies that there was some racing going on.
Oh, yeah, he's going over 100 miles an hour, yeah.
I'm like, who was he with? But he was with his family. So I went to his family's house, and I had some words with some people over there. And I'm just like, man, y'all got to understand, like, he's the breadwinner of the family. He's the one changing all of y'all's lives, everybody. And then beyond all that, broadly speaking, Josh Jacobs says, he's a good kid. He's never been in trouble. I've never seen him do anything crazy. He was just one of them guys that had a very, very unfortunate situation and something happened, a decision that he made. That's what hurt me the most. Man, he isn't somebody you would look at and then be like, bro, you deserve this to happen to you. So as I read that, because I think my starting point of all of this is like, bro, you got drunk, raced in Las Vegas, killed a woman who burned to death in her car. I'm sorry you never get to play in the NFL again, but like, you killed a woman. Go find something else to do. And I still might be there. But then I read that. And this is somebody who says, I know this guy. He's not a bad guy. He wasn't one of the guys you grew up with who was out there doing crazy stuff all the time. There are people you and I both know like this, where something bad happens to them. It's a DUI. It's a drug overdose. It's whatever it is. And you're just like, well, man, like what did you think was going to happen? You've been living that way for a while. You've been running around like this for a while. What did you think was going to happen? We were always leading here. I was just waiting for the phone call. So like you kind of, I don't want to say you deserve it, but like nobody is surprised. You've been making bad decisions for a long time, and now you're in a bad spot. I don't want to say you deserved it, but buddy, you were walking right down this path. We all know people like that, don't we? What Josh Jacobs is saying is this guy's not that. Not defending what he did, but what he did was make a terrible decision that a lot of other people have made. It's not symbolic of his character. And if you don't think he's paid a price for it, buddy, he's paid a price. He's carrying around that guilt. He's lost his freedom. He's literally in prison right now. Millions of dollars. And so would it be the worst thing in the world if this guy is still capable of playing in the NFL someday when he's released from prison, if somebody gave him a second chance, if it could really be like a story of redemption and something we could all learn from and be bigger than just football? Is that the worst thing in the world? What if I sold it to you like that? Movie at all? Not really? Okay, that's fine. I respect that.
No, it's just hard for me to. I mean, I watched the video. I've seen the video of like the scene and everything, and when he's, on camera. I mean, it's just hard for me to get past it.
I understand, but there are a lot of bad men in the NFL, like lots. People who have also gotten drunk and drove and had collisions and hurt people. Maybe not had them burn up in their car, but like you keep Henry Ruggs out of the NFL, you don't have a league full of angels.
That's true.
You don't even have a league full of non-criminals. There's a new headline every week with somebody doing some wild stuff among NFL players. I don't know. I probably still side with you, and I certainly wouldn't try to argue with you or talk you out of it, or tell you you're wrong. I don't. If you just say, no, man, you killed a woman, that's your NFL's career is over. I can't tell you you're wrong for thinking that. It's a totally reasonable place to be. It's just, I look at this and...
Like, did he try to go get her out of the car?
I get that, but... And I'm not defending this guy in any way whatsoever, but
I'm just saying.
He's drunk
it's
and
hard
probably
for me to get past.
Drunk and probably in shock and didn't even realize what was happening. I bet you that's closer to the truth than I'm not even going to try to help this woman, as opposed to I don't even know what's happening right now. I don't even know what's going on right now.
I can believe that.
I bet that's probably closer to the truth. Yeah, I don't know that there's a wrong answer here. I wouldn't try to talk you out of yours. But when I just read those quotes and they, like, what if this guy isn't the guy who was drinking and out in the bars every night, but just had one bad night that led to bad decisions? And do you really have to pay for that the rest of your life? When the alternative could be, we could hold you up as somebody who made a horrible decision, paid a significant price, but is now trying to get their life back on track and has shown that, A, you should never, ever, ever do what he did. Because even if Ubers and Lyfts weren't available in 2002, they ain't hard to get now.
Mm.
There really is a very, you shouldn't be getting behind the wheel of a car after a night of partying like that.
Right.
Yeah, you should never make that mistake that he made, but also understand that there is a chance to get your life back on track even when you feel like you might have ruined your life forever. Like, is that the worst story in the world? Maybe it is. And maybe you can have the same redemption story, but just minus the NFL. Like, hey, be an example of you've turned your life around, but we're just not going to let you play football in this league because of it. Maybe that's his reality. I don't know. I just thought the quotes were interesting and also kind of sad. A young man
It is sad.
Ended somebody else's life and ruined his own. For what? Just for a lack of good decision making. Yeah.
Number 3.
Bill Belichick back in the news.
Oh, what's going on? This
Lots
ain't
going
going
on.
away.
A lot's going on. A lot's going on.
She should have never.
100%.
She should have never said we're not answering that question in that interview because it opened up the biggest can of worms.
Because here's the truth, and you're exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
When people ask you a very normal question like, where did you meet? I asked you this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
You said a bar.
Yeah.
Okay? And I never thought another thing about it, not for a second. I just accepted your story.
Mm-hmm.
When you trot out a story to a very normal question and don't make it weird, people will just accept the story for whatever it is.
Just lied.
You could have just
lied. You could have just said,
anything.
yeah.
We met on a plane. Whether that's true or not, that is the
Yeah.
story they had previously
Met at a
trotted
movie
out.
theater, yeah.
It's the story they had previously trotted out. And if they would have just trotted it out again, because, and I see some people comment on this, and it just shows they don't understand how these things work. I don't mean to but just you don't. If you were like, well, you already know how they met. Why are you even asking the question? Because CBS needs this on camera to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, just like Jeremy Renner has talked 50,000 times about getting run over by a snowmobile.
Yep.
All right? I know that story front to back. I've heard it 70 times. But if he is on CBS Sunday morning, this Sunday, they will ask him about that and ask him what happened, and he'll tell the same story that he's already told 50 times. And the reason he'll tell it again is because this is a new story, and they need you to say it for this camera, for this setting, for this package. So just because they had already told the story is not a reason not to ask the question. You ask the question because you need it answered in this setting. That's just basic television stuff.
Yep.
And if they'd have just said the same story they'd already said, nobody even blinks.
At all.
We met on a plane. I was in 2A. She was in 2B. She was reading a book. And I was like, hey, what are you reading? And we just sort of hit it off. And by the time the flight was over, it was like, hey, keep in touch. If I can ever help you with anything. Next thing you know, it's a match made in heaven. Oh, weird but sweet, I guess. Weird but sweet, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say things like, we're not talking about that. Okay, well, that's weird.
Yeah,
wonder what she's hiding. So now people are digging. You see what the New York Post found?
I did.
That since she met Bill Belichick, which was reportedly 2021, she has accumulated roughly $8 million in real estate. She's 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing in her background that suggests she should have $8 million in real estate. Her family filed for bankruptcy in 2000. You know what her mom does now?
Mm-hmm.
Did you read this?
Yes. Her mom runs like a sex store? Was that?
An
adult type of store?
Adult toys.
Yeah.
She which is like, fine with me.
Oh, yeah. There's
I don't
nothing
care.
wrong with that.
Adult toys are great.
Yeah.
But
I don't know about that.
Well, Bennett, to each their own.
Yeah. To each their own. Yeah.
Don't be kink judging, Bennett. You're kink shaming.
I've never been in one of those
You're kink
establishments.
shaming.
I've never
You're
been to
kink
one of
shaming.
those establishments.
You come in here bragging about the washing machine, but you're kink shaming.
You're
you
right.
brag about your washing machine, but now you're kink shaming.
You're right.
Jordan Hudson's mother, you're shaming her.
Absolutely not.
That's what it sounds like.
No, those I've just never been to an establishment like that. Maybe that
Would
was
you like
too
to
judgy.
go?
I'm probably okay.
Your wife might like you to go.
Maybe.
Have you ever asked?
I'll ask her tonight and report back.
You should ask.
I'll ask her and report back.
You should ask.
Yeah.
This could be something.
Where would I even go? Do we have places like that here? I'm sure we do.
We can Google.
Oh, be careful. Yeah,
Can I Google?
I don't know if you can Google
Here's
that
the thing is, here's the thing about the way this stuff works.
Yeah.
If I Google that right now, it will show up on my Twitter feed.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Then I'll be sitting at lunch with my family and like
there you go. Yeah.
suddenly the rose is popping up on my Twitter
I think
feed.
just us saying it's probably like going to be all over my phone for the next month at least. Yeah. Damn it. I messed up there.
How long you been married?
10 years.
You never ask your wife what she needs or wants or desires?
Yeah, but yes.
You seem very
full stop.
You seem very sure of yourself.
But I mean, she's never been like go to a sex store and buy something.
Well, maybe
to
she's
spice
waiting.
things
Maybe
up.
she's
It's
waiting
just
for.
never been brought up.
Yeah, but she's probably also never said you need to shave your beard, but you probably know deep down she wants you to.
No, she likes it. I think she likes it. Mm-hmm.
If I know anything about women,
no, she likes it.
A woman who likes a beard like that would maybe also like.
I know what
you should ask. Maybe you should ask some questions.
I got you.
Maybe you should open up a dialogue with your significant other, Bennett. Maybe you're making too many assumptions.
No one needs to hear this. No one needs to hear this.
Jordan Hudson's mother runs a adult toy shop, which is just an interesting.
It's just an interesting nugget to throw into the story. Yeah.
It's just an interesting nugget to throw into the store. Okay. This woman who people think might be a prostitute. We find
allegedly, it's been floated around.
It's been floated around.
Yeah, I see the timeline.
It's been floated around.
Yes.
Just to find out, like, hey, I wonder what her mother does. Oh, runs a sex toy shop. That's just a funny thing to find out.
Yes.
It's just a funny thing to learn.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
So since this woman met Bill Belichick, she's accumulated roughly $8 million in real estate.
Mm-hmm. It was a gift.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
If I told you...
What's $8 million to Bill Belichick?
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It looks crazy, and I think it is.
Yep.
But this guy was making $25 million a year coaching the Patriots.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
He has, in NFL salaries alone, exceeded $200 million. Mm-hmm. So, like, genuinely, what is $8 million to him? Like, how different is that than your buddy who gets divorced, got the young girl, and, buys a $2,000 bag and a trip to Greece, Like, that's a lot of money to that person, but probably not much different than $8 million to Bill Belichick.
Oh, man.
I still think it's outrageous. I just think sometimes we get caught up on $8 million. And it's like, yeah, but he's got like
no, that's nothing.
It's like, he's still, if he gave her $8 million, just based on NFL coaching salaries alone, he's still got 192.
Yeah.
He's all right.
He'll be fine.
But still, you shouldn't be buying $8 million worth of houses for this girl, woman. Should you?
I probably wouldn't.
It certainly plays into all the stereotypes.
It definitely does.
It makes it look like exactly what everybody seems to think it is.
Yeah.
That you are being taken advantage of by a young woman who has something
I wish I could just say some of the things. There's been some hilarious posts. I can't read any of them.
Do you see Bill Belichick's daughter-in-law?
No.
She popped off.
What'd she say? She said, leave Bill alone. He's happy.
No. Some people trying to defend Jordan Hudson, saying, hey, she's just acting as a PR. But this is what PR people do all the time. You've seen this. People say, PR people sit in interviews all the time. And when they hear a question they don't like, as an attorney might do in the courtroom, they object. They say, hey, no, we're not going to answer that.
That's not really true, though. You made this point earlier this week.
It's not as true as the people trying to say it's true, because just like CBS released a statement yesterday, this is what's normally true. Everything's discussed in advance.
Yes, it's all done beforehand.
Hey, is everything on the table? I mean, honestly, like I can remember doing a public interview with Taylor Jenkins before last season for maybe like Ortho South employees or something. And like those questions had to be pre-approved.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it was just like, well, you know, maybe don't ask about this.
Yeah.
Like it's always discussed in advance, or at least it's often discussed in advance. If there's no conditions on the interview, and CBS has said there were no conditions on the interview. We talked to the publisher multiple times. Nobody ever said you can't talk about this or don't ask about that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. It is not normally what a PR person does. But has a PR person ever said it on an interview and said, hell no, we don't like that question? Yes, I'm sure it's happened. It's just not, it doesn't happen as often as the people who are trying to hold that up as an example say that it does. Either way, people are saying that. Hey, how different is Jordan than just a PR person? PR people do that all the time. And Bill Belichick's daughter-in-law married to his son, Stephen Belichick.
What'd she say?
She said, yeah, but PR people aren't rude.
Oh.
Thanksgiving's going to be tough.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving's
buddy.
going to be tough. Thanksgiving's going to be tough. Thanksgiving's going to be tough.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I don't know if you saw Charles
Now,
Barkley.
it's daughter-in-law, not daughter. So,
But like you
That's
know,
interesting.
if daughter-in-law is saying it, son is signed off on it.
Of course.
And honestly, if you saw your 73-year-old dad dating a 24-year-old like this, it would. How old's your father?
In his like late 60s.
Okay.
I don't know his exact.
If he just started dating a 24-year-old woman tomorrow, that would make you. They would.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
All right. So like Stephen Belichick is probably like, Dad, like what? You know,
Why are you doing this?
I should be trying to bang 24-year-olds, not you.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? All right. If his wife is popping off publicly like that, you know Stephen signs off on it. Thanksgiving's going to be tough.
Thanksgiving might be weird.
Thanksgiving's going to be weird. Then Charles Barkley jumps on TV, and somebody tried to ask him about it.
He said he's worried about his friend Bill.
He said, like, I thought this was meaningful because Charles Barkley will pop off on anybody.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care. He's just joking all the time. And he's like, I'm not going to, like, that's my friend.
That's my friend. Maybe I need to call him.
And so I'm not going to comment on it, but some of the stuff I've seen lately does have me concerned, and I might reach out to him. Bro, when all your friends are worried about you, forget people like me and you laughing at you. Your friends are worried about you. If your friends are ever worried about you, you need to look in the mirror. Like, I would say that's good advice for anybody. That's actually good advice for anybody. If you have a group of people who love you and who have always been there for you, and suddenly they are all universally concerned about you, the way you're living, the things you're doing, you need to look in the mirror and be like, oh, what? Rather than go, everybody's crazy or nobody understands. That's what Bill Belichick more or less said the other day. You know, I've never really been concerned with what everybody thinks. Well, what about when everybody who cares about you thinks that this is crazy? Forget the money part of it, although you shouldn't probably. But it's just crazy that your girlfriend would go to work with you every day. Do you know anybody here who got a new boyfriend or girlfriend and they just start showing up at work every day?
No.
Would that even be allowed?
I don't think so.
Of course not.
Yeah, I don't think
like,
so.
I don't even like I can't even imagine what it would.
Right.
Like, just I don't even like talking about if so and so got divorced or so and so whatever. I don't even want to put that out there. But like, just imagine if somebody who works here in a prominent role suddenly found themselves single, got a much younger partner, and then that person who doesn't work here was just here every day, just lingering. Except not just lingering, interjecting themselves into places they don't belong. It's weird. And your friends are worried about you. Some of your friends are cracking jokes about you, and others are just like, yo, man, we're worried about you. I don't even want to joke about it. I mean, I got some group texts that are hilarious, but I'm not trying to make fun of you publicly. I'm just worried about you privately. Are you okay? You need to blink. I don't think this is going to end well.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I don't think this is going to end well.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on it.
I wish him luck, though.
Yeah, good luck.
Hey, talk to your wife.
Okay.
Okay. Ask her. Start a dialogue.
You got an address on that place?
Jordan Hudson's mother's place?
Yeah.
No, but I bet I can get it.
Okay.
I'm going to get that to you. I'm going to send it in our Algeria Strong group text.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Number 4.
Congratulations to Big Glow, Glorilla, the Glow Bash.
Oh, yeah, we got a big show
First
coming
annual
up.
Glow Bash.
Yeah, man.
It's coming to FedEx Forum July 25th. Glorilla and friends. Who do you think her friends are?
I don't know. I want to know who the friends are.
I bet you Yo Gotti's one of her friends.
She's pretty famous now. Like, I bet she's got some big time friends.
She's friends with everybody.
Yeah, that's why I bet she's going to bring somebody good.
Oh, I bet Megan's one of her friends.
Well, I don't.
Her and Megan are friends.
Well, didn't they do like some shows together? They did a tour, right? They did a tour.
She opened for Meg's tour.
Well, then you're not going to like.
She opened for the Stallion.
But then you're not going to turn around and have Meg open for her.
Not open, but just come be my friend.
Okay.
You know how like Ed Sheeran plays
Dual headliners, I got you.
No, just come be my friend. Just pop on stage, do a couple songs, pop that ass, and let's get out of here.
Yeah.
All right?
I got you. I got you.
I think a Stallion could be her friend. Cardi's her friend.
That's true. That's true. In all honesty, it is like
Drake's her friend. She's not going to OV-ho this thing up, is she?
Well, he won't show.
He never shows.
Oh,
He
yeah.
never shows.
I mean, they could announce it.
They can announce it. He'll never show up.
He won't be there.
He's OV-ho.
Yeah.
OV-ho.
Yeah, he won't be there. No,
OV-ho.
that's a big time. That's a big show. In all honesty, like, dude, it is awesome seeing her blow up like this, like as fast as it's happened.
F&F was released 3 years ago. It was April 2022. 3 years ago. She was nobody.
Yeah.
3 years ago. And now she is like genuinely
one of the biggest stars.
Yes.
Yep.
It's not going away. If I'm being completely honest, I thought that was a moment and it would just come and go.
I kind of felt the same, and that is not the case.
Like, you remember Designer? Do you remember this?
Yeah, yes.
The Panda? Panda.
Yep.
Like, that was it was the biggest song in the world.
Yeah, and we've had multiple
And
artists
then it just
like
goes
that.
away. I have no idea.
Yes.
The last time I saw Designer, he was getting arrested on a plane for...
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Doing things you ain't supposed to do on a plane, all right? And I don't know what's going on with him now.
No, we've seen artists like come and go that have had big moments. You know, Memphians that have had big moments, but it didn't have the longevity.
I'm just saying it's like the one-hit wonder is a thing for a reason.
For sure.
And I'm not saying I thought she'd be a one-hit wonder. I just thought that, like, if you'd have asked me in April 2022 if in April 2025 she would be one of the biggest hip-hop stars in the world, I'd say, what? I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome, but she's everywhere. And everything she does hits.
Yeah, dude.
Everything. Like, you can't turn on TNT without hearing a Glow song at some point, coming in and out of a break.
That's right.
You know, on the golf course, you ever get tired of like Spotify playlists? You just turn on SiriusXM, Hip Hop Nation. She's on every hour. She's in the rotation every hour. You're going to hear Kendrick, something off GNX. You're going to hear Playboy Cardi. But Glow's going to be every hour in the rotation. Every hour. Massive deal. What a story.
It's awesome.
Like, one of our best stories.
One of our best. Dude, because like we'll get celebrities that come to Grizzlies games every now and again. The biggest one this year was by far her, because I've made all the games. I see all of it. Like, we'll have celebrities, sometimes on the front row. By far, the biggest was her.
Like
this year.
when she first,
I mean, mobbed. Like she could barely get off the court when she left because everybody wanted a picture.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
No, she's a real star now.
Yep.
She is like, in terms of just walk in a room in Memphis.
Yep.
She is like, who walks in a room and gets a bigger, like, Ja Morant?
Sure.
It's like Ja Morant and Glow.
Yeah.
Like, and Penny gets a different kind of reception. But in terms of like make people scream and freak out and pull out their phones, it's probably Ja Morant and Glow.
I think that's right.
And like for her to like her life story is incredible. Like, just statistically, none of this is supposed to be happening. And like she wears it proud. Memphis. It's almost hard to like hear a Glorilla hit without there's some Memphis reference.
Yep.
Like she wears it proud. She's awesome. Awesome story. Happy for her.
Me too.
I imagine that'll be an incredible night, filled with friends. Hopefully a stallion as well.
Number 5.
Ooh, buddy. Did you see this last night?
I did.
PNC Park in Pittsburgh.
My man took a tumble. Yeah.
They've got the Roberto Clemente wall at PNC Park to honor the Pirates legend.
Yeah. It's a great park, by the way.
You been there?
I haven't, but
I want to go.
It looks amazing on
looks
TV.
Awesome.
Yeah, every time you see one of that, because I ain't acting like I'm watching that many Pittsburgh Pirates
But they've got
games,
the bridges behind
but
it.
every time that park pops up,
it
I'm
looks
like,
great.
damn, yeah.
Every summer, I try to take the family to a Mets game on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And so like last year, we went to Arlington, and that was amazing. And I don't really want to take the family to Pittsburgh, but I want to take them to that. I want to go to that park.
Pittsburgh?
Nothing's wrong with Pittsburgh, but I just don't know what we would do. I mean, we'd find something to do.
That's fair.
We'd find something to do.
It's maybe not a destination
Yeah,
city.
it's just not a
Yeah,
like,
I
hey,
got
where are
you.
we going for a vacation this summer?
We're going to Pittsburgh. Yeah,
it's not.
I got
but
you.
I would go there strictly to go to the park. I'd like to go to the park and see that and experience that and whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, among the characteristics of the park is the Clemente wall.
Mm-hmm.
He wore number 21, so it's 21 feet tall. And it'd have been so much better for this fellow last night if
It was like 10.
If like Roberto Clemente wore number 4.
Yeah.
And he'd have tumbled over a 4-foot wall. You could have.
Mm-hmm.
This one's 21 feet. When you first saw it, because there's video of it, we're not going to show it to you. Because
he's still up against it.
Yeah, I mean, it could.
He could die.
He's in critical condition.
Yes. So we can't show it.
I mean, I would personally be comfortable with it.
I would too, because
I've already seen it 100 times.
I have as well, but
we can't show it to you.
Yeah,
I don't need Darnell up my ass today.
Yeah.
Okay,
we can't do it. Sorry.
But did you think this guy jumped or fell?
Okay, at first I thought he jumped, and then like the details started to come out, and I was like, "Oh, that makes complete sense." Here's when I knew. You want to know when I knew
Tell me when
that
you
he
knew.
was.
When you saw he didn't have a shirt on.
When I saw he didn't have a shirt on, I was like, he was drunk. He was drunk.
I don't mean to laugh. Take that.
No. But as
Let me-
soon
let
as
me-
I
let me
saw the
erase that. I didn't mean to laugh.
I know. As soon as I saw the close-up,
This is my sad face.
Yes. As soon as I saw the close-up picture and he didn't have a shirt on, I was like, oh, he was drunk and just celebrated too hard.
I've seen people at baseball games without shirts on before.
Yes.
They are almost always shit-faced.
Yes.
So, initially you hear somebody fail, you go, well, of course they fell, because who would jump from Clemente Wall?
Mm-hmm.
But then you see the video and it's like, Jesus Christ, it looks like he jumped.
Yeah.
And then you just have to invoke common sense. I'm a big believer in invoking common sense to try to figure things out. I'm not always great at it in my own life, but I'm pretty good from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
So you go, okay, just invoke common sense here. Because if you think he jumped and you think it's intentional, what you're saying is it's a suicide attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, does it make any sense to go to a Pirates game and try to commit suicide from the Clemente Wall?
No.
Come on.
No.
If you were really thinking about killing yourself,
no,
you would be like, I don't know if the Clemente Wall is going to do it.
Right.
I should go to one of these bridges behind the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
All right? There's a better way to do it. Better way to do it.
Yes.
Or more effective way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You should never do it. 1-800, whatever the number is.
I don't know.
Just Google it. Suicide prevention.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But if you're going to do it, trying to do it from the Clemente Wall, that doesn't seem smart at all.
No, it does not.
So you start getting eyewitnesses, and you know what the eyewitnesses said?
He was hammered.
He was hammered. The inning before, he took his shirt off and poured a whole beer on his head.
Mm-hmm.
So he's that guy. He's this guy at the baseball game. Shirt off, beer on my head. And what they said was the guy was on the railing. The Pirates got a hit, and he jumped with excitement and lifted himself up. And because he was so intoxicated, literally just launched
tumbled,
himself.
yep.
He just launched himself over the railing. And now he might die. Like, that's somebody's son.
I know, dude.
Like, imagine last night you're just sitting at home and you're like, honey, did you hear somebody fell at the baseball game tonight over the Clemente Wall? And then you watch it and you're like, ooh. And then you see the close-up and you're like, oh, God, that's Jimmy.
I don't want to think about. I wouldn't want that to happen to me. No.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that's really bad.
I don't drink shame. I'm a drinker myself. I have also had too much to drink and fallen before.
Mm-hmm.
Not like that. Not over the Clemente wall.
It's also like I think there's a difference too between I've been in some wild environments. I think the Titans-Bengals playoff game comes to mind. We were getting after it. There's no question but there's levels to this.
Levels to it.
Like, dude, you can't be doing this on April 30th of the baseball season. Like, the stakes are not.
I didn't mean to laugh again. Let me get my sad face again.
Like,
sad face back.
The stakes are not that high. Like, you gotta reel it in.
Also, bro, it's Wednesday.
It's a weekday.
No, I'm not trying to drink shame.
I know it's the Cubs are in town, but come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I've done a lot of stupid stuff while drinking, but I've never launched myself over the Clemente wall.
No.
Hopefully it works out.
Never will.
Never will. Never will.
No.
Hopefully this works out.
I hope so,
In all
too.
seriousness,
Yes.
you would hate to watch somebody.
Of course.
But remember our guy from the boy band? He was on that hotel balcony. He's doing all the coke. And
Oh, yeah, the One Direction guy.
And same type of thing. It sounds like he just fell over the balcony too.
Yep. Don't get drunk on balconies.
That's the lesson.
Don't get drunk on balconies.
Get.
It sounds fun.
It sounds fun.
Yep.
But you start getting drunk near railings.
Yeah, don't get drunk near railings. You can get drunk on a balcony, but sit your ass down.
Sit down when you're drinking.
Yeah.
At some point, you drank so much you need to sit down.
Yes.
I think that's the lesson.
Dang, man.
I think that's the lesson. If you just committed to the cause, you're gonna drink like crazy on a Wednesday. Sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Sit down.
Yep.
You gotta sit down.
You gotta sit down.
Yeah. Be back with GP's carryout.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jaren with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go! Let's go!
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
This week, we're going to run down the hits and the misses from WrestleMania 41.
The main event, NXT title on the line, Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. One of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen in my life.
I'm shocked.
And it made history because it's the first time there's 3 black men highlighting a NXT pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was dope too.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second
took
time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign with, where you have a better chance.
But
of
you get a
sticking.
lot of stuff. You get a parade. I
They
think you
do?
go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Bill Ford Tough Studio. Let's wrap this show up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
A whole bunch of stuff, but I think a lot. I mean, a lot if you think about it. But I think the most important thing is it might be time for Bennett to open up some dialogue.
Yeah, maybe so.
You
Probably
think it's time?
too late for that.
Would you be more comfortable with me approaching it?
No, I would actually prefer anything else. No, that's a no for
I
me.
could send a direct message on Instagram.
Please don't.
Sometimes I send direct messages on Instagram.
Please
Do
don't.
you know that I have direct message your wife on Instagram?
Have you really?
Sure. Sometimes we direct message each other.
Oh wow.
Do you know that?
That's news to me. I did not know that. Do tell.
Oh, it's nothing. Let me tell you.
Not really.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable sharing our direct message relationship with you. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, we have history. We have history here.
Yeah. Wow.
We have history here.
Wow.
We have history here. Would you like for me? I could just continue our conversation.
That's okay.
I could just be like, hey, just circling back with you. And I could.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Would you be more comfortable if I opened up the dialogue?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, but if you change your mind, know that I can do it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
We have a little direct message history
That's
right
fine.
here.
I'm going to DM Kelly right after this show. Yeah.
You can DM my wife if you want to.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Hey.
What's
up?
Just hit her with a what's up.
Sup?
Just hit her with a what's up. All right. I'm gonna let you open the dialogue.
Okay.
But if you think you need me, let me know. I could just.
Did we ever find out where this lady's store is?
No, but we're going to.
Okay.
I don't feel like I can Google it.
It's
here.
probably one of those new real estate locations. She just purchased one. Yeah, one of those new buildings.
Bill probably owns the building.
Bill
probably
yeah.
owns the building where this sex toy shop is. We're gonna get an address on that. All right, we're gonna get an address on that. You don't even worry about it.
Okay.
All right, hit your little button.
Oh yeah. Okay, we got to do this. I forgot.
Today's biggest game.
I think I'm gonna take you to Detroit.
Okay.
Little Caesars Arena.
I've always wanted to go to Little Caesars Arena.
Well,
ever since its inception, I've just been intrigued by it. I've heard great things.
I think the reason you've heard great things is because great things are happening. The Pistons are still trailing in this series. They're down 3-2, but they're at home tonight. Knicks are the opponent. Tip-off is going to be 6:30 on TNT. Pistons -1.5. The total is 212.5. How you going to act?
I would love a Game 7. Like we've had a couple of these series be a little lopsided. I want a Game 7 here.
You want a Game 7 at the Garden?
Yeah, man.
I
Yes,
kind of wouldn't
it'd be
mind seeing a Game
amazing.
7 at the Garden myself.
Yeah. Let's go Pistons. I mean, Jalen Brunson's like he keeps dealing with that ankle. Like he's having to go in and out of games.
Dylan Brooks would attack that ankle if this were a series against the Houston Rockets.
That's right.
That's what he said last night. He would admit to it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Pistons here. And by the way, the line yesterday on the Lakers Timberwolves game, what was that all about? Because what happened last night was the least shocking thing ever.
What do I think that was about? There was some computer stuff that suggested the Lakers should be probably favorites by like 4.5 or something. And then they know everybody out there wants Luka and LeBron to survive. So it's just like, I'll bet with my heart. And
but it was 6.5.
you kick it up to 6. I think it settled in at 5.5, but this time yesterday it was 6.5.
Because that's why I took Lakers, because I was like, well, there's funny business going on here. Like, how is that possible?
I think it was possible they just knew people want LeBron and Luka to live, and so you bet on the people you want to live.
I guess so. I guess
it's
that's
exactly
true.
like The Last of Us.
So
a little bit like The Last of Us.
Pretty much what I'm going to do tonight is
same thing.
Yeah,
same thing.
Yeah,
They're getting people like you every night.
Yeah,
all right.
We'll go Pistons.
Pistons -1.5. That's Bennett's play.
What are we watching on TV?
So I told you yesterday about the John Mulaney show.
Yep.
And I didn't watch it last night because I got locked into the Lakers game. I was like, I'm just going to focus on Lakers, Timberwolves, and, I'm just going to watch basketball. Keep my computer on. get some work done, and watch basketball. So I didn't watch the show, but this is what happens when you get awkward with CBS and you become a national story, not just because you've got a weird relationship, but because you're making it weird in a very public way. Guess who got spoofed last night on the John Mulaney show?
Belichick.
On Netflix. Yes, Belichick and his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. So that's the thing that went viral from the show. It's all over social media. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm sure you can find it. Just get into Twitter and type in John Mulaney, Bill Belichick. Boom, it'll pop right up.
What's the best thing we've read?
Over at CBSSports.com right now, Sam Quinn has put together a list of 5 stars that are most likely to be traded in the NBA this offseason. Who do you think he put at number 1?
I'm sure Ja's on the list.
He's not.
He's not.
No Grizzlies. He only put together.
Good. See, I knew Sam was a smart basketball
Sam's a smart
mind,
guy.
because there's a lot of just BS out there that's just coming out of nowhere. It's so it's expected. It's expected, but it's still very annoying. Like, the Grizzlies have given no indication that they're trading John Morant, and yet you see it everywhere.
Sam Quinn pays attention.
Yeah.
He didn't put John Morant on this list. The most likely star to be traded, according to Sam Quinn, is... Actually, I think he's wrong here.
Giannis?
He put Giannis at number 1.
Yeah.
I think Giannis should be high. But the actual answer... Because there is a scenario where they just don't trade Giannis. You just say... Giannis just comes to you and says, my wife loves it here. And my kids are happy, and I don't want to leave. I don't want to move my family anywhere.
Yeah.
And so people
don't take that into account enough.
Well, that's what Bradley Beal's done.
Right.
Just I don't want to move my family.
Why did KD not leave?
Well, he didn't have the family.
He liked where he was living at the moment.
Yeah, like, these are real things.
Yep.
Like, there's a whole Grizzlies coaching staff right now that is kind of like, where are we going to live? Are we going to be here next year or somewhere else?
Right.
It's uneasy. And not everybody likes to, we think about these people as just basketball players, basketball coaches. People don't like to just uproot their families all the time. And when they do, it can be difficult. So Giannis could just come to Milwaukee and say, I don't want to leave. I don't care what's going on with the roster. And at that point, you don't trade Giannis. Right? So I don't think he's the most likely one to be traded. You know who is? Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Because there's no scenario.
They've already said it.
I mean, they've already
much.
basically said it. They're going to work together, but he's not. Kevin Durant will not play for Phoenix next season.
Correct.
I don't know where he'll play, but it will not be Phoenix.
That's right.
So I would go KD 1, Giannis 2, maybe. But he went Giannis 1, KD 2. Number 3, Trae Young.
Yes. I cannot imagine that that's not something that happens.
Number 4, Zion Williamson.
Yep. Because we heard the rumors. Yep.
And number 5, Lauri Markkanen.
That one's interesting.
I guess the thought process there would just be he's a star now, and we're still miles away from trying to compete for anything. So let's just get even younger with assets and I don't know.
Yeah.
But Mark, that's your list. Giannis, KD, Trae Young, Zion, Lauri Markkanen, Sam Quinn's list. 5 stars most likely to be traded. You can read it at CBSSports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Tomorrow will be Friday. So we'll be talking NBA playoffs, I'm certain. Jessica Benson will sit right there in that chair. I'll chop it up with her. Should be a fun show. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. Let's meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.